Hello and welcome. My name's Andy Tanner. Just a huge expression of gratitude to my friend Garrett Sutton. He is the founder of Sunstream, and he's invited me, my family, and his son Ted to share some of our experiences in financial education. Particularly I spent about 14 years traveling the world on the Rich Dad team. Robert Kiyosaki, Kim Kiyosaki, Garrett Sutton, the whole group. And Garrett was saying to me, he says, not everybody got the chance to take their kids as they grew up from age 6, 7, 8 years old to be with people like Kim and Robert, and same with Ted. So we used to travel around. It's kind of like the Von Trapp family singers or whatever. Garrett had a great idea. He said, why don't we take some time and let people know what it was like to grow up and be a part of all that incredible financial education. And now we're starting to grow up and to see what the impact it's been and how it's been. So first, we ought to introduce everyone. This is my wife, Marcy. This is David. Say hi, David.
Hello.
And then we have Zachary.
Hello, everyone.
And then Ted, and that's Garrett's son. And we're all grown up now. So Ted, first of all, let's start with you. First of all, when was the first time? I know you and I, we were in Chile. It was the first big trip we went on with Robert. But the first time you guys met, was it Australia or was it Argentina or which?
No, it was Australia.
It was Australia. Yeah. So take it away, Ted. What are some of the big takeaways? And I know that in Chile, how long were we there for? Maybe a week, something like that, 5 days, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you actually made contacts there. How old were you? Walk us through that Chile experience and what it did for you when you went back.
Oh yeah, for sure. So when I went down to Chile, I was about 21, so I was still in college. And my dad is the asset protection attorney for the Rich Dad company. And he called me up. He's like, hey, Ted, I'm going to Chile in a few months. Do you want to go? So I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. That sounds good. But when I went down, we were only there for a week, but that trip literally changed the trajectory of my entire life.
And you went back to Chile for a little bit of time, picked up Spanish, picked up some contacts. And when you say it changed the trajectory, what was the big change?
Yeah, so the big change was that, when I met you, I met Miguel at that event. And then the summer after, I went down to Chile and I worked at that mine that he worked at for 3 months. It was a great experience. I had a great time. I got to live in the Atacama Desert for 3 months in the driest place on earth. But I liked mining and I liked the people who are in the industry, but I didn't really want to work in remote areas. So having that experience at the mine there was really helpful, because it made me realize maybe this isn't the best career path for you.
So Ted and I, we certainly have the friendship. I've been friends with your father for years and years and years, but you mentioned you studied at the University of Utah. One of my claim to fame, there you go, one of my claim to fame is I was probably the worst basketball player in the history of that school.
Oh, I
but I had a great coach, and one of the things we did is we played pretty good defense. People would talk about, we want to play defense, and that's way important in risk management. And if everyone's trying to sue you in a litigious society, defending your assets, a huge, huge thing. People ask me why we were special. I said, well, you can tell whether someone's serious about defense or anything else by the amount of time you spend on it in practice. So on the one hand, the opportunity to travel with Robert and Kim and their team for 14 years, which is pretty much their whole childhood, that can't be understated or overstated. It's incredible. But I would also say that if parents just set aside time, what you spend time on, not money, what you spend your attention on shows what you really care about. And I think that's another big lesson, is certainly the quality of instruction they received from his team was more than, as their dad, I could ever give them. But as a byproduct of that, it really set a stage for us to spend time on it. And Ted, as I listen to you, it reminded me of one of the important lessons. I've always thought if I was on my deathbed, what was one thing I tried to tell these guys? And I don't know what it would be, but it might be there's only two kinds of moments we experience. There's inconsequential moments. You go through life and, what are you going to have for dinner today? What you say, do, think, how you act, it's not really going to make much difference. There's also moments that are defining. Those are the ones you want to pay attention to, where you are, what you say, what you do defines everything. And I can tell when you said that experience in Chile changed the trajectory of your life, that's one of those defining moments. So you never want to let those pass. And it could be as simple as, an episode on, something you watch on Sunstream. That one insight, that one magical insight, it can actually change the trajectory of your life. So I always say pay attention, because people confuse the two. They might treat, a chapter in a book of something inconsequential, or someone else it's a defining moment. So Ted, awesome stuff, amazing experiences. We could tell stories all day long.